Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Yes Heat Lap Guide. My name is Sir Foch and today we are taking the Ferrari 296 to Cota, Circuit of the Americas. And what a circuit it is, super tricky, very technical, very difficult with track limits, so better get used to that. Ferrari though, fun to drive, very good aero, very good downforce, so you can really send it here. Gotta get the lines right, but it is a lot of fun to drive once you figure out the lines and the track limits. The white lines are the limits basically everywhere on this track apart from like 3 corners. One is coming up right now. I'm gonna mention the others as well when we get there. So on this exit you can drive on this curb, but you gotta get off it very quickly, so I wouldn't recommend using that. Very easy to get a warning there. You don't also have time to slow down much. The 296 here, similar to 488 with the similar issues on the straight line. However, it is better with clearing the curbs, so you do not need to raise the car too much to be able to brake over the curbs. Also, interesting detail, it is actually faster to not upshift here unless it is very cold or you decide to run a very low wing setup. So that is something to note with the way this gearbox works on this new Ferrari. Sometimes it is better to not upshift before braking zones. Entering the super tricky, very technical last sector. This next corner is also very, very tricky. Getting the line right here and not doing this big understeer is very important. Unlike the 488, this Ferrari can easily line up over this curve on the brakes, and this is the second part where you can go over the white line. But if you cross the red curve, you get a lap invalidated. But that curve you can run and gain a little bit of extra time. Also stay away from the red sausage curves on the exits. Some cars can run it, this one cannot. Turn 1, we are looking at our 100-meter braking board, braking just before it, going towards the apex, and obviously exiting the corner. Increasing TC for the middle sector can be quite useful. Here, line up to the right. This should be all done with a lift. We brake only for this corner, and then a little bit for this one. Little tap of the brakes here. Don't run over the sausage on the inside there fully. Braking here, there's no real good reference. Also be very careful not to invalidate on the inside. It's super easy to do, like you just saw there. And now for the hairpin, we are also looking for the 100-meter line and braking just before it. Once again, careful not to cross the white line under braking. And on the straight, we stick to the right to not increase the distance on the straight too much. I prefer to not brake for this corner over the curb. Red tent is a good marker here. It's 100-meter line this time. You want to clip the apex and get on power as soon as possible. Once again, looking for the line, braking just before it. Trying to carry good speed. I braked a little bit too early that time, but you'll see a proper line in the hot lap. Braking just before the rubber lines start here. Also want to clip that apex. And this corner is very tricky. You upshift to third and you lift kind of like where that apex starts and then get on power. If your setup is good, the car should rotate. And here we go over the curb. Brake just after the rubber line starts. You can stay in third there. And here we brake just after the darkish rubber line starts. Can go lower on TC for the exit of the last corner. But that is roughly the braking markers. Alright, so here's the setup. Some new developments in 1.9 research with the setups. We're not running max caster anymore. Apparently in this car you're not really gaining extra camber in the corners. Front toe is still on maximum. You can lower it. It's not that important. The front tire wear is rather irrelevant, so that doesn't matter. And also, if you notice, we are positive toe on the rear. The benefits from the running negative toe are kind of gone, and you're better getting rotation in different ways. as the rotation you get from negative toes, first of all, kills the tires, and second of all, it's also difficult to balance. We're running map 6, map 1, map 6, map 3, whatever you prefer really. ABS 2, traction control, we're switching between 5 and 7 really. So the 6 is just there in the middle. So there's my mechanical. So soft rear is the way to go. I prefer the stiff front. This kind of makes it feel like the 488 was, and less like the understeery Ferrari that 296 kind of is. So I prefer to run it this way. There's many ways you can set up the car, but the lap times aren't too bad, so I cannot complain. New developments in the damper page as well. Running very soft dampers on the rear especially. Produces relatively decent looking histograms and actually feels like a car has suspension. This car is super stiff by default. Also, max preload is the way I prefer to run it. But yeah, front minimal bump and some rebound. And here's our aero. Running quite a lot of rake, not running max wing, just to keep the aero balance in check. If we ran max wing, we would really have to crank up the rake, and then you will be very slow on the straights. So this is kind of a compromise to give you some straight line speed as well. So in my opinion, this makes it for quite a nice and balanced setup. So yeah, that is the setup. I will send it for a hot lap now, and I'll see you on the next one.